hope everybody has their thinking caps on because it's nearly time to learn.
Oh, Freddie, you should do one of those every week.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Deal. Hello and welcome to my outstanding lesson. Hi, Jesse.
Hi, Freddie.
So we're recording our podcast introduction. Quite exciting.
It's a big moment.
But you and I are no stranger to podcasts, are we?
We are no stranger to podcasts.
For the benefit of the listener, can we catch them up?
Last year when I was working on my master's degree, we decided to make a podcast. And we called it Teaching and Junk because my last name is Junk. It was a good name.
It's a good name.
Mm-hmm. I think you made it.
Maybe.
I think it was your idea. I don't know how informative it was.
How long was it?
It was 25 minutes. I didn't realize there was a time restriction.
Self-indulgent.
It was a bit indulgent.
Yeah.
Not unlike this podcast.
I guess we can call that our failed first attempt, and this is episode 1 of the new and improved teaching podcast, right?
And we're going to have a lot more listeners this time.
Fingers crossed.
We're pretty sure. So, Freddie, that was my podcast. Tell us about this podcast.
Okay, so in this podcast, each episode, you and I will interview an educator of some sort, and they will tell us about an outstanding lesson from their career. Outstanding meaning possibly really funny, possibly really bad, possibly really good, just something that sort of sticks out for them. So, episode 1, who are we interviewing today?
Today's podcast is about a teacher named Tristan.
Tristan, as no one calls her. If Mitch and Cam from Modern Family were friends with her, they'd call her Tristan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not being self-indulgent.
We're not going to be self-indulgent on this podcast.
Tristan's actually, in many ways, a perfect first guest because she created the beautiful artwork.
That's right, she did.
Thanks, Tristan.
Thanks, Tristan.
Looks ace.
We love it.
I really love it. We love Tristan. She's a brilliant artist. But there is one word that if she utters will land her straight in detention.
In detention? So what is Tristan's word?
Tristan's word is pedagogy.
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 Why do you think Tristan might say pedagogy?
I don't think she necessarily will say it. I just think she deserves severe punishment if she does, sorry. It's just too pompous.
You're trying to keep pedagogy out of the podcast?
Yeah. I'm fine with the concept, but referring to it with that word...
Does she know she can't say the word?
No, Tristan has no idea that there is a word that will land her in hot water. I think we probably shouldn't leave Tristan waiting outside for the whole day. Come on in, Tristan.
Hi, Tristan.
Hello, Tristan.
Hi.
Tristan.
How you doing?
Good, thanks, and you guys?
Feel good.
Yeah.
Jesse?
Yeah, good day. Good Saturday.
Jesse's all warmed
Sunday.
up. Did that brain gym exercise?
Didn't work.
Took you back a day. Worked really well.
Right, we're here with Tristan. So before we start, Tristan, you've got the choice. Are you going to accept the offer of a turbo table?
I am.
Okay,
Brave.
so, yeah.
Good for you.
Well, you can only get it wrong and learn, right?
There you go. That's a
mindset.
great attitude. I like that. So at some point, you're going to be, I'll say it, shouted at during the interview, and it will be a times table question below 12 times 12.
Okay,
Cool.
got it.
And it's going to be in the style of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Why?
Good question, Jesse. Because it's a turbo table, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is Turbo Man.
Oh, great idea, Freddie.
Interesting stuff.
Cool. We'll move on. Before we start the lesson, we're going to do our lesson starter. Okay, so today's game's an absolute classic. I went to the supermarket and I bought, and then we need to basically each add a noun each time. Go for the alphabet, going ABC. You know what the alphabet is. And then see how many we can remember.
Okay.
So, yesterday I went to the supermarket and I bought an avocado.
Yesterday I went to the supermarket and I bought an avocado and some biscuits.
Yesterday I went to the supermarket and I bought an avocado, some biscuits, and a cat.
Yesterday I went to the supermarket and I bought an avocado, some biscuits, a cat, and a donut.
Yesterday I went to the supermarket. I bought an avocado, some biscuits, a cat, a donut, and some eggs.
Yesterday I went to the supermarket. I bought an avocado, a biscuit, a cat. Oh, wow. I already don't remember.
A donut.
A donut. An elephant?
Eggs. From the supermarket. What kind of supermarket?
I think the ABCs are throwing me.
Really?
Like, fish. And fish.
Yesterday
I'm out, right? So you guys keep playing.
Okay. And then number 2. Yesterday I went to the supermarket and I bought an avocado, some biscuits, a cat, a donut, an elephant, a fish.
Eggs.
You did me with that one! Oh, wow. Like,
It's a harder game than you thought.
You
I just thought kids sucked at this.
implanted your incorrect answer.
So I win.
Congratulations,
What a
Tristan.
short game.
That was
Yay.
Didn't even get to G.
Yeah, it could be a long-winded game. It's for the best.
Okay, Tristan, what are we talking about today?
I thought we'd talk about picture books because I'm a firm believer that picture books can be used in any lesson, any subject, anywhere, any age.
Like, have you used them like recently in lessons with your kids?
I tend to use them almost daily. If I can find a spot for them in the day, whether it be in English class or inquiry or whatever it is we're doing, I generally tend to whip out an English picture book that we use and talk about and have a great discussion.
Some people might think, oh, picture books, that's so nice for, kindergarten and small kids. Like, do you find you use them more with younger kids, or is it always the same no matter the age?
Well, I haven't had any experience working with as the lead person in a lesson with picture books and adults, but I have been a part of a lesson conducted and I was one of the participants and I was an adult and the whole group was adults, and the amount of discussion and thoughts and feelings that can come from a picture book that might have originally been targeted at a younger age group was incredible. I mean, that was, I think, seeing that and seeing the ability that a picture book has to transform any room, no matter who's in it. It was one of what drew me to it originally. Yeah, so like I said, I use picture books quite daily in my classroom, and over the last 2 weeks, I've used 2 different picture books, and I'll speak about both of them. So the first one we did was my unimaginary friend Beagle. I think that's the title of it. But the basic of the story is there's this world of imaginary friends, and they're just waiting for their person to imagine them so they can go join them. And then he gets tired of waiting and he sees all his friends being imagined and disappearing. And he's like, well, I'm not going to sit around and wait. I'm going to go find my person. So he goes from the imaginary world to the real world. And what was interesting with the pictures is that the imaginary world was so bright and colorful, and there was looked like a lot of fun things going on. And as soon as he transitioned to the real world, it was very dark, and the mood of the colors used changed what you felt. And after we read the book, I went back with my kids and I discussed. I was like, what do you notice about the colors and the change throughout the book? And they were like, well, it's quite interesting that in the beginning of the book, it's all colorful and beautiful. And then when he goes to look for his friend, it's all dark. And I was like, why do you think that is? And they were like, well, it could be that it's his feelings, because he's all by himself and alone. He doesn't have his imaginary friends. He hasn't found his person yet. And we had this whole discussion about what it means and what the colors means and what it could represent to the main character's feeling. And at the end of the book, he finds his person, and they find each other at just the right space. And somehow, I can't remember the exact way we got there, but our discussion ended with us talking about children. And they were like, well, maybe the children are bringing the brightness. And then it was
Wow.
a great...
What moment?
I've often told my children, like, for me, teaching is my hope, because I often consider myself a very realistic pessimist, or I used to at least, realistic pessimist in terms of the way I viewed the world. But now, I mean, since I found teaching and since I found teaching little humans, it gives me this hope of what humanity can become. And so for me, it's like this absolute gift that I get to do it every day with the human beings that kind of feed my soul. And so it was really, really cool because by the end of the lesson, I was able to be like, for me, as a human being, as your teacher, I am honored to be able to be here every day with you because you are what gives me hope. It was an incredible kind of full circle lesson for me in particular.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah,
Really,
what a story.
really well described.
A little choked up.
What I like.
I don't know what to say.
What I like especially from that is when you're talking about, discussing the colour palette and how it changes from, based on what the character's feeling. You're basically teaching metaphor without using that phrase.
Without using the academic language that throws them off it, especially in the younger grades,
And I think one of the benefits of picture books is you almost have two goes at it. It's not just the language you need to try and decode, it's the picture and the way things look. I was going to ask if you know many of Anthony Brown's books.
He's one of my favourite authors.
And I think if I had to choose like one of my go-tos, one of my go-to favourites, it would be, I don't know if you've read Voices in the Park.
Yes, that's one of my favourites too.
And the pictures are so detailed, and I've taught it for years and years and years.
More than the story does.
Absolutely do. And not only that, it's, because every year kids will notice stuff that I've never seen before. And we'll just look at a picture and say, what do you notice here? And if you've not read it, it's absolutely beautiful. And like, there's so many sort of individual little clues and like Easter eggs on each page, and they all mean something. They're all linked to how a character arc is progressing, or how they're feeling at that point.
Absolutely.
And it's told from multiple perspectives anyway, hence the name Voices. Yeah. And I just think it's an absolute tour de force.
Yeah,
it's got like everything.
But there's like you said, there's a multiple things. So for me, in that book is also great because they can see how the value that the picture brings to the actual story.
All of a sudden they understand the perspectives of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's a great lesson.
Yeah.
I think we both used the Invisible String book in the last couple of weeks. Yeah. Can you like briefly talk about what you did there?
The Invisible String was a good one. It was my birthday that we read it. And they were all like, what does that mean, an invisible string? Surely if there's an invisible string, it means that there's nothing there. And I was like, okay. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Just at this point, in case someone's not read the book, it's about those enduring links you have with people that mean a lot to you. Right, yeah, sorry.
So we were speaking about it and they were like, okay, so I was like, so you love your mom. How do you know? Is there anything, can you see love? Can you touch love? And they're like, no. So I was like, so what do you do with love? And they were like, but you can feel it. And I was like, that's exactly what the book is talking about. The book is talking about this connection that you have with somebody that you can't see, but you do feel. And so from there, they asked me, they were like, Miss Tristan, do you have an invisible connection or an invisible string with your mom and dad? And for those people that know me or don't know me, I have a very weird, rocky relationship with my parents. I don't speak to my dad. I have two. One was my biological dad. One was my adoptive dad that my mom later remarried, whatever. So I don't have dads.
You're caught up.
Yeah. So like, so I explained this to them in very like simplistic kind of words, and their faces were devastated. They were like, how can this be? Like you, what do you mean you don't have a dad? And I was like, well, sometimes relationships don't work out, and it's okay because I have Mr. David and I have my friends, and those are all my invisible string connections. So and my one girl, Lily, she stopped and she put her hand up and she was like, Miss Tristan, I'm so devastated for you. And I was like, at that moment I stopped and I was like, oh, Lily, I didn't tell you. You asked me a question and I feel like...
You asked for it, Lily.
Right. But at the end of the day, I was really proud of the way the whole conversation went because I that's the thing about picture books, is that they could literally lead you anywhere, and you could have these discussions and these life lessons that just are so organic. And that's my biggest draw to picture books in general.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
When I was training, I taught a class with a very challenging child in it. He was basically the poster child for apathy. And quite early on I realised that if I did start a lesson with a picture book, it was the only thing that really would, pique his interest and at least get him like involved in the lesson. And like I said, you don't always know where it will lead, but from that, you can have so many interesting discussions or take a lesson pretty much in any direction.
But I think you're never going to have a bad lesson from it, right? There's always going to be something that you're going to learn. It might be a small lesson, might be a profound lesson. It might be, but it's never going to have a negative impact on your classroom or who you're sharing it with.
I know, I find it's even just a nice reset sometimes if things are feeling a bit crazy there. I'm like, let's all just sit down. I'm going to read a book.
Definitely.
With little ones.
I get like a physical reaction even to you saying that. I feel calm when I imagine that classroom.
Freddie loves
Everyone put their cardigan on, get a cup of tea if you want to, have a bit of reading time.
Crisscross
so
applesauce.
Nice.
Yeah.
What? Ah?
Is it crisscross applesauce?
Does that mean cross your legs?
Yes.
Okay. I like it. Crisscross applesauce.
Yeah.
I had a date. I might cut this one, but I had a date once. It was a first date, and she kept saying, "Awesome sauce," and I was like,
Awesome sauce.
Awesome sauce.
She said it like 5 times in the space of an hour and a
awesome
half.
sauce.
It's like people who say literally wrong, right?
This is going to be hard. It's turbo time, Tristan.
Okay.
8 times 8.
54? Is it?
Close.
64.
The next one up.
Yeah.
64.
It's the pressure.
So close.
Pressure. Feels like Arnold's in the room. I felt like someone else should probably
The
say
aggression.
about my impression.
Yeah.
It's not good. Also,
You actually sound like Count Dracula.
I want you to answer 8 times. All right. I ate and I ate until I was sick on the floor. 8 times 8 is 64.
I'll never forget now.
See
what I mean?
Yeah, there you go.
I'll never forget it now because it's in my head.
And I will now.
And you've humiliated me on the podcast, babe. So thanks for that.
I will now start trying to
add it to my therapy list.
We're willing to
fun
cut
of
it
me
out
for multiplication tables.
Jesse, any favourite picture books?
Oh, favorite picture books.
What are you into?
You know what? The first thing that comes to mind is the book Ish. So I'm sure you guys have heard of Ish, maybe?
I don't think so.
Oh,
What's
it's like
Ish?
so the kid. It's about art, and I guess just sort of kind of freeing children with art to draw sort of in their own way and add their own styles. And so I haven't read it in a long time, but it's like the child does a picture, and it looks sort of like whatever he's drawing, and he's like, it's like dog-ish. And so then they all kind of get into this sort of like drawing something in an ish way, and then you teach the kid. It's obviously an intro to an art lesson, right? And then you get them to do something in their own sort of ish way.
Very cool.
That's nice. Tristan, do you have any like favourites, or do you use too many to actually have?
I have a couple. I mean, like I said, I have a list that I am constantly adding to. I did one recently where it's the name jar. Which is a really good one, where a Korean girl moves to America and she's too shy to say her name because when she did the first time, she gets made fun of because they can't say it the way it's supposed to be said, and then she decides that she wants to give herself a new name, and the kids come up with this idea to put her name in a jar, and eventually she chooses her own one because she finds the value in being herself and not being afraid of what other people will say and that kind of thing. And it was a very good book and a very good picture book because that kind of story has a lot of emotion attached to it, and the pictures really communicated that.
One of my favourites is, We're Going on a Bear Hunt?
Yeah.
Bear Hunt.
I love that
by
book.
Michael Rosen. We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. You don't know this? Okay. I'll
Really?
show you next week. It's lovely. And that, to me, I don't know, I think part of the reason why I love it is because I'm pretty
There's
sure...
lots of actions, right?
Well, I was read it as a kid. My parents read it to me when I was like 3 and 4. And then now I've come full circle and I use it so frequently. So with young kids, it's really like nice adventure story, and you get actions going, and it's got a nice little beat to it. And then I've used that with year 6, teaching things like prepositions. We can't go over it.
Right.
We can't go under it. So yeah, big shout out to Michael Rosen. I just
It's
love
a good one.
everything Michael Rosen does. So yeah, that's one that's like really stuck with me. Tristan, curated, put together a beautiful book for her students last year. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, as I said before, we read a lot of picture books in my class, and one of the ones that we read towards the end of the year was called I Wish You More. For example, I wish you more happiness than sadness. I wish you more peace than turmoil. I wish you, it's this, and basically that's the whole book. There's about 15 pages of I wish you more this than that thing that is in your life that might not need to be there, kind of thing. And so my students and I decided that we would make our own Wish You More book. And I was like, each of you are going to create one page to add to this book. I will make one page. And we actually got it done in a 55-minute block period, which was fantastic. And then basically I just put it together in a book. We ended up publishing it and giving it to them as their little memento of grade 2. And it also sits in our library right now, which is really cool. I've had a lot of my last year students come in and be like, we saw our book. Did you see it, Miss Tristan? Really, really cool.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's stunning. It really
It
is.
is.
I think maybe we'll get some photos if we can and put them online because if Tristan agrees,
Yeah, we
it's,
should.
it's absolutely lovely.
Well,
I
as long as
actually
there's
bought
no
one.
copyright, I'm not dealing with the fallout.
The
But...
lawyers can deal with it.
Oy.
Right, I think we're nearly done. Do you watch Jerry Springer when he did Jerry's final thought?
Oh my god, that's the worst thing. Love yourself and each other.
Tristan's final thought is...
I don't know. I don't have a final thought. It's not the final.
Do it
I
how
think-
the generous does.
hopefully that...
Be kind to one another.
Yeah?
don't know. Go out and buy yourself a picture book.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's all say one picture book that we would recommend above any other right now. I'm going to go for Voices in the Park by Anthony Brown.
I'm just going to say I wish you more. It's a beautiful
Okay.
tribute to any human being that's alive, really, or dead.
I'm going to pick a Canadian book called I'll Love You Forever by
Whoa.
Robert Munch.
Are you talking about I'll love you forever, I'll like you
Yeah, for
always?
Oh,
as
yeah.
long as I'm living.
Yeah.
My baby, you'll be.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good one, too.
You do know the reference. Joey forgets to buy a gift for Rachel's baby, so he does a dramatic reading.
Of that? So would you have known that other than from Friends?
No, as usual, I know very little unless it's come through Friends.
Yeah.
Alright, we're all going to go and watch the Friends episode where Joey does the dramatic reading.
Yeah.
I think it's time to say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, Tristan. Thanks for
Tristan,
coming.
that was
Thanks for
so
having
great.
me.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was Tristan.
That's it.
Oh, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, she really pulled at my heartstrings a
You
few
were
times.
nearly in tears at one
I'm
point.
having that kind of day.
I genuinely love it when anyone speaks passionately about anything. You know what I
Truly.
mean? So you could see. Well, we could see how passionate she was. I'd quite like to be a kid in her class.
Yeah, me too.
Is that weird? Is that all right?
I think that's fine.
It's not weird, is it? She didn't say pedagogy. Well done, Tristan. If you like what you heard, please rate and review the podcast.
Yes, help other listeners find us.
Exactly. 5 stars, please. We're also on the internet. Available on all mobile devices. We're on the gram at My Outstanding Lesson, and my personal teaching account is Mr_Butler_primary.
Make sure you take a look at Instagram because we've posted a lot of great examples from the I Wish You More.
Yeah, the book that Tristan made for her kids is absolutely lovely and definitely worth checking out.
We'll also make sure we post a book list for you of all the great books that were recommended today.
Have you got an Instagram account for your cat yet?
No, I don't. I mean, my
okay.
whole Instagram page is for my cat.
Okay.
Check it out.
Cat Instagram account loading. Basically. Should we put a picture?
Pending.
Put a picture of Ming up there for the listeners.
Yeah, we'll put a picture of the cat up. You might have heard him today in the podcast.
Jesse, I want to talk to you about something really important before we go.
This is important.
Celebrity endorsements.
We got to have it in a teaching podcast.
Yeah, I feel like that could be the rocket fuel that sends this
People like celebrities.
podcast into outer space.
Freddie, have you been looking for any endorsements?
I've been on the case for a few weeks, and there was a failed attempt to get Roger Federer to endorse the podcast.
Who's Roger Federer?
No, he's a tennis player.
Gotcha.
Some people might have heard of him.
Celebrity.
Celeb. That was a bit pie in the sky. And then I had a friend met Jamie Murray. You know Jamie Murray?
Is he
Britain's best doubles
tennis player?
Yeah, another tennis player.
We have some connections to tennis players here in
yeah.
Shanghai.
Friend of the podcast asked Jamie for a little soundbite endorsing my outstanding lesson.
And did he say okay? Did he give it up?
New. Basically, Jamie totally mugged us off. He wasn't interested. Although, no hard feelings. Still love you, Jamie. Go well. So, we don't have one.
We don't have a celebrity endorsement.
This is now the podcast that is officially not endorsed by Britain's best ever doubles player.
This is that podcast.
Yeah. So, I need your help with this, Jesse. Can you tweet Lizzo or something and try and get her to record something saying, "I love my outstanding lesson"?
I'll tweet Lizzo later.
Okay, Lizzo.
I think
she'll
want to support us.
Unless she's listening now. Lizzo, if you're listening, we'd love your support.
Lizzo, we would love your support.
I love Lizzo.
Who wouldn't want to help us out?
There you
Right?
go. After you've heard that quality content.
If you are a celebrity or you know a celebrity, please tweet us.
Oh. Right. I think it's time to go. It's bye from me.
And bye from me.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening.